Thank you so much to Trinity for starting us off, and Dean Wasserman. I just wanted to say for the record that we're all not hiding in the bushes here, we're just standing near them. So please run a correction if you said that otherwise. But really, thank you everyone. I think when we all started this program back in the fall of 2015, we were not expecting the dramatic shift in our country and in our political culture that we've seen. And I think all of us have been dealing with that in different ways. And some of us have really created amazing work to help document this critical time in our country and in our world's progression. So I'm really proud of all of us right now, and I'm really happy to be able to be up here speaking on behalf of our class. One of the things I really wanted to talk about is, Berkeley's been getting kind of a bad rap in the media lately, which is kind of all of us now, so I guess we're all responsible for that. But a lot of the publications that we turn to for our news have been running think pieces and editorials about how Berkeley is this liberal bubble. It's an echo chamber where people are just believing the same things and they all have the same ideas. I think we've seen stuff like that written a lot lately. And I think if any of you attended our showcase over the last 2 days, you would see just how wrong that assessment of Berkeley is, and especially the journalism school. The diversity of expertise and perspective and experience of the class of 2017 is truly remarkable and inspiring. And I am constantly inspired by the just array of viewpoints and stories that my colleagues seek to tell. One thing that's clear is that we're not homogenous, and our viewpoints cannot be considered the same. But I do think we share one critical similarity, and that's that we value principled, truth-seeking journalism, and we seek to do that type of journalism in a lot of different ways. So I think our work speaks for itself, as Dean Wasserman said, and so I wanted to just take a minute to highlight some of the incredible work that my colleagues have done. So some of our colleagues have taken incredible risk during this program. They've embedded with traveling carnivals to document labor abuses. They've spent time in the mountains of Kabul. Some of our amazing students went to Kabul. They were shot at because they were documenting the struggle of women in Afghanistan. They were doing a story about women learning how to rock climb, and they were not wanted there, but they stuck around and they were able to tell an amazing story despite the risk. Some of our students went to the far reaches of the earth. One of our colleagues was in Mongolia this summer. It was negative 30 degrees, and I tap out at about positive 30, so I wasn't game to join him there, but he still came back with incredible multimedia project despite that harrowing adventure. So those people were really chasing a story that they believed in. They were hoping to expose injustice, and they were not compromising on that value that we all share to produce principled, truth-seeking journalism. One of the things this program really focuses on in our first year is on local reporting, which I think is so important and has sometimes taken a back burner on the national stage as budgets have been cut and small papers have closed. But this program pushes you in your first semester to do local reporting, and it's built into our system here, and I think that's just so valuable. So some of our students stayed here in California to do their thesis projects, and they reported on homicides in San Francisco. They reported on the cycle of poverty for Californians. They reported on opioid recovery in Central California and in water rights in Weed, California. And some of us traveled to our hometowns, our home states, to places like Mississippi and Montana, and for me, Arizona, to do stories in rural places that we feel were underreported. And I'm so proud of us for all of us, for finishing our thesis projects and turning them in and especially for folks who took on stories that had strong personal significance. So I just feel incredibly lucky, and I wanted to shout out a few people who made this time here especially significant for me. So in my first semester, I was in a class called Oakland North with Kara Platoni, who you'll hear from a little bit later today. And I came into this program, and I had never really written a news story in my life, and I wasn't intending really to do that. But she took me from the point of writing short, 500-word pieces to ending the semester with a 3,500-word public piece that was published in the East Bay Express, and I didn't think that would ever happen. So thank you so much, Kara, for guiding so many of us through this program. Like many of my colleagues, I came into this program with no intention of learning how to code. That wasn't really what I thought journalism was, but I quickly learned from our amazing faculty member, Jeremy Rue, that actually coding has a huge place in journalism, and some of my colleagues and I decided to take on learning this new language over the last few years. And it was a bumpy ride, but I think we're all better for it. And we're hopefully all gonna get great jobs. So I learned a lot from Kara and Jeremy, and I learned a lot from one of our esteemed faculty, John Els, who taught us how to shoot out of airplanes and in freezing cold weather, how to do cinematography in some of the craziest conditions. And I think we all learned from our colleague Christian to be a little bit more afraid of the government than we were before. He's one of our best national security reporters here. So one of the things that's really wonderful about this program is that you really have the freedom to develop any story that you want. If you can convince your faculty advisor that your story is worth pursuing, it's likely that they'll give you the green light and tell you to go for it. And I think all of us had different experiences where we had a dream to pursue a story, and maybe a faculty member tried to bring us into reality and tell us, okay, let's scale that back a little bit. Let's not write 10,000 words, make a 30-minute documentary, and take 50 photos to try to publish across multiple publications. But while they do play an important role in reining us in to focus on the best story we can tell, they always have encouraged us to follow that dream and follow that story that is bringing us to this program. And I think their support is critical for all of our success. So we have a lot to celebrate about our work, but we also have a lot of work to do in our industry. So I'm a transgender journalist, and there's not very many of us out there. In fact, I've been looking for other trans people in this profession, and I haven't found very many. And sometimes that feels upsetting or discouraging, but I realize that it's not just folks like me who are trans who are looking for people like them in the industry. There's a lot of different communities that are underrepresented in this industry. So folks of different religions are frequently undermined in the workplace. People of color are lacking from many of our newsrooms. And we have communities in our class here that have a lot to say and haven't gotten a lot of airtime. So we have a lot of work to do. And starting just in the next few days, we're gonna be heading out to jobs in big cities like New York, in small communities like rural Alaska, in conflict zones in Mexico and Jordan. And a lot of our colleagues are going to be taking incredible risk to continue our commitment to the value of principled, truth-seeking journalism. So we're going to be in an industry where men are still paid significantly more than their female and trans counterparts, where there's significant underrepresentation in our newsrooms, and where some of our own bosses may sacrifice the quality of the journalism for ad revenue or for breaking into a new market. And so it's really our job to hold those people accountable, whether they're our superiors, whether they're just our colleagues, our coworkers, or other people in our industry, to make sure that our value of principled, truth-seeking journalism is always upheld. So let's not be the journalists who perpetuate these problems. Let's learn from the incredible generations of journalists before us. Many of them are here today. But let's be even better, even braver, and even more committed to our values. Thank you so much.